you've really got to ask yourself, which crypto, Bitcoin or Stellar XLM, did a 1500x as opposed to a 260x? Because when you compare these two cryptos, you will be shocked. And that's exactly what we're going to be doing today. It's clear trillions could flow through cryptos like Stellar XLM, and you and I, your award-winning crypto Stellar XLM developer, could benefit. Because if you want to make those huge profits, if you want to make that 250k plus in a relatively short space of time, you need to be in the right crypto, right? You need to ensure at least your portfolio is balanced correctly. Okay, so really, there's 7 major points that we need to consider. So let's jump right in. 1. Purpose. Bitcoin aims to be a decentralized digital currency and a store of value. Stellar, on the other hand, focuses on facilitating fast and low-cost cross-border transactions and solving financial inclusion. 2. Consensus algorithm. Bitcoin operates on a proof-of-work consensus algorithm where miners use computational power to validate their transactions. On the other hand, Stellar uses the Stellar Consensus Protocol, which was the federated Byzantine protocol. And this really relies on a network of trusted nodes that come to an agreement, an agreed state of state on the ledger, which is confirmed via quorum sets and quorum slices. And that brings us to number 3, scalability. Bitcoin has faced challenges with scalability due to its limited transaction throughput. Stellar, on the other hand, is designed to handle a high volume of transactions and low fees and fast confirmation times. I'm Nathan, aka Nathan of Zion, your award-winning crypto Stellar XLM developer, and comparing Bitcoin and Stellar is so important because we need to ensure our portfolios are allocated correctly, right? Because if you want to make those huge gains, if you want to make that 250k plus profits, that massive ROI, you need to watch this video to the end, because it could be the difference between you making those huge profits or none at all. And that brings me on to point 4, asset transfer. While Bitcoin operates as a digital currency, Stellar is a platform that enables transfer to multiple types of digital assets, including tokens issued on the Stellar network, which are considered first-class citizens, not bound within the constraints of the blockchain. They can literally go anywhere, completely interoperable with banks and other blockchains and other real-world use cases. Which leads us on to number 5, point 5, network participation. Bitcoin's network preliminarily consists of individual users and miners. Stellar, on the other hand, aims to connect financial institutions and individual financial inclusion, right? Making it easier for them to transact with each other across different currencies across the globe. And this is really to get an understanding of where Bitcoin is. We need to refer to, I think, Jenny Johnson, who is the CEO of Franklin Templeton, right? And I think she best explains what Stellar's use case is. So let's jump right over. Jenny.
So I tell people, I think the 2 biggest disruptors to any industry are going to be AI and blockchain, right? And then I follow it with Bitcoin is the greatest distraction from the greatest disruption that is ultimately coming to financial services and other businesses. And that is not to say that Bitcoin has no value. Actually, it was someone in this region who pointed out to me that, you know, just the fact that the US confiscated assets from Russia would drive people into asset classes like Bitcoin, because there would be a view that those assets could be outside of any government confiscating them. So I'm not saying that Bitcoin isn't going to have some value, but to me what's so interesting about blockchain and what is really unique is if you think about what the blockchain technology does, it does 3 things. It allows a payment mechanism it allows a smart contract, and it allows a general ledger that is a source of truth. If you think about what happened, we were talking earlier about the regional banking crisis. One of the issues that happened was that as there became a lack of confidence in banks, in particular regional banks, they weren't able to access the Fed window because it was sort of after hours, right? So if you have a source of truth, and a lot of that is due to historically how operations and settlement happened in businesses. Think about, most big banks still have a big old mainframe that's doing batch processing at night. And so the markets were built like that, but as we become more global, it's going to be imperative that the source of truth, when the transaction happens, it is settled and you can have confidence of that. That is going to actually open up to a more 24-hour time zone. So I think that's going to be an important innovation. But back to the concept, I think for us as an asset manager, one is the source of truth drives down the cost, so we can deliver much greater customization for less, so that's a good thing. But it's going to unlock untraditional asset sources. And I'd love to use the example of Rihanna, the singer, who issued 300 NFTs, each one, and all she was doing was testing the market, but each one gave you 0.0033% royalty of one of her songs, right? Now, she's doing that because when she sells it, Rihanna fans are going to pay a premium. But the only reason that can happen is because that token can be, that smart contract can be embedded in, say, a music streaming service that can collect that fractional pennies and be able to pay you in your token. So think about the types of assets that can be unlocked.
And that really brings us to point 6. Developer friendly. Stellar offers a range of development tools and APIs, making it easy for developers to create applications and tokens on the platform. Bitcoin, while having a robust developer community, is more focused on being a decentralized currency than a platform for building applications. And we know that Bitcoin offers so many, Stellar XLM offers so many SDKs. We've got Haskell, we've got JavaScript, TypeScript, we've got Ruby on Rails, we've got Python, and now Rust, Saraban. It's clear these communities coming together is going to make a huge impact on the ecosystems, and financial institutes are listening, and financial institutes are getting involved. Which brings me to point 7, market capitalization. Bitcoin has the highest market capitalization among all cryptocurrencies, sitting at the top of the market. Stellar, though, still significant, has a lower market capitalization compared to Bitcoin. But you have to remember, you need to analyze these points along with other factors and market conditions before making any investment decision or drawing conclusions about these currencies. And I'm not a financial advisor, but I am an award-winning Stellar XLM crypto developer. And really, what we need to do is compare these bull runs. Which crypto did a 1500x as opposed to a 260x? So let's jump over to Bitcoin and just see exactly what the ROI situation is here, right? Because you'd be astounded to learn that actually when we go back to 2000,
and I was just going to rabbit on about how Bitcoin only did a 260x, but I thought no, I thought better. I thought, actually, let me just state the truth here, because in actual fact, if we go back to 2010, when this person brought 2 Papa John's pizzas for 10,000 Bitcoins. Just imagine if the pizzas were worth around $7.50. Okay, that would be Bitcoin at a price of 0.0015. And actually, if you multiply that by 44,700,000, you'll find a price of around $67,000 per Bitcoin, which is what we had on the last bull run. And actually, in actual fact, 44,700,000 X is what Bitcoin has done over the last 13 years in comparison to Stellar XLM. And really, this is all relative. What we have to think is, can Bitcoin sustain this sort of momentum? Is the technology that good that it will do much better than other blockchains like Stellar XLM in the future? Or will it start to lose its pace? But we can see that in the last bull run, actually, Stellar XLM never did as well.
What's important to understand is that you watch this to the end, right? Because if you want to make those huge profits, you're going to need all that alpha to get you the right portfolio, to ensure that your portfolio is balanced correctly. And it's so important. But these several points could explain why Bitcoin gets much more adoption. And that's something that you really need to consider when comparing these points. Because really, Bitcoin has experienced greater adoption compared to other cryptocurrencies. Point 1. First mover advantage. Bitcoin was the first cryptocurrency and gained significant attention as its groundbreaking technology. Being the first decentralized digital currency, it established a level of trust and recognition that contributed to its wider adoption. Point 2. Market dominance. Bitcoin has maintained the largest market capitalization and is the highest level of liquidity among all cryptocurrencies. This dominance has made it more accessible and attractive for investors and individuals looking to enter the crypto space. Point 3. Branding and recognition. Bitcoin's brand name has become synonymous with cryptocurrencies and has achieved mainstream recognition. This recognition has helped Bitcoin garner more attention and adoption from the general public as well as from institutes and businesses. 4. Decentralization and security. Bitcoin operates on a decentralized network, meaning it's not controlled by any central authority. And we know Stellar has had some stick for being centralized because maybe they haven't had enough nodes in the past, or quorum sets or quorum slices, but I think you could say it's fairly decentralized now. And also what you have to remember is Bitcoin is subject to 51% attack. If 51% of those nodes are controlled by one certain entity, one country maybe, then it's could be subject to rollback of transactions or transaction denial, and that could be huge. And this decentralized nature and robust security provided by its blockchain technology has installed trust in Bitcoin, attracting users who value sovereignty over their finances. And that is key, really, because it's the first through the door for this concept, right? And people really value that. Back in 2008, 2009, 2010, when Bitcoin was coming about, was launched, we were going through the financial crisis then, and people didn't want to get involved in their banks. They wanted to be outside of that, especially the libertarians, right? And really, when the software libertarians worked out, the software geeks were into it, libertarians worked out, what was going on with Bitcoin, they were jumping right in. They wanted decentralization away from the big banks. And that brings us to point 5, global acceptance. Bitcoin is widely accepted as a form of payment by various merchants, organizations, and online retailers. Its acceptance as a means of exchange has increased over time, making it more practical for everyday users. And we know this had happened. What kicked it off was the Silk Road, right? That website that you could buy drugs and guns and prostitution from, and it really gave Bitcoin a bad rap then. But now, today, we look at 0.6 institutional interest. Bitcoin has garnered significant interest from institutional investors, hedge funds, and asset management firms, right? Their involvement has not only brought credibility to Bitcoin, but also brought in large amounts of capital and increased adoption with the capital, because these are really institutes, big trusted entities, right? And that's really what's going to make the difference. And because Bitcoin has the first mover advantage, brings us to point 7, store of value. Store of value. Bitcoin's limited supply and the concept of being digital gold or a store of value has attracted investors seeking an alternative to traditional assets. The actual potential for Bitcoin to act as a hedge against inflation has contributed to its growing adoption. And this is really key. It's important to note that these points illustrate some of the reasons for Bitcoin's adoption, but may not encompass every aspect. The adoption of cryptocurrencies is a complex, evolving phenomenon influenced by various factors, including technological advancements, regulatory frameworks, and market dynamics. But really, taking all that on board, comparing these two cryptos, we need to understand the differences. We need to understand who are the big game players, who's getting involved. Can Bitcoin maintain that first position just through first mover advantage? And it's clear, to make huge profits in crypto takes research and analysis, right? And that's why it's important to continue to develop a clear-cut understanding of what's going on in the space. We need as much alpha as possible, and this is what's going to get you those huge profits. Gather that alpha together, you can see things clearly, right? You know where the market's going, and really you need to continue to compare these cryptos like Stellar XLM. We need to look up the list, CoinMarketCap, Zion Coin's market cap, and see what we can compare. If you want to do that, if you want to make those huge profits, you need to check out this next video, because we compare one of the 20 other cryptos above Stellar XLM and see exactly what Stellar XLM could be doing better. I'm Nathan, aka Nathan of Zion. Smash the Zion coin up there, like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Have a great day now. Take care.